A new chapter in serial killers. You've heard of Ted Bundy, Son of Sam, Jeffrey Dahmer. Now some authorities say this woman is America's first female serial killer.
Did you say to yourself, I'm out of control, I'm killing people? No.
Her victims, 7 men, each shot to death. She claims self-defense.
Am I supposed to die because I'm a prostitute? No, I don't think so.
What set her off? Tonight, Michelle Gillen with Eileen Wuornos.
I've got a message for the families, okay? Here's a message for the families. You owe me.
What made her programmed to kill?
Then Michelle continues the story. The police hunt. They caught Eileen Wuornos by using her lover.
She was very caring. She cared a lot about me. I cared a lot about her.
She got Wuornos to confess, testified against her in court. Even so,
I still love her. I always will love her.
tonight we'll hear the confessions of a serial killer.
And some of the smartest kids in the country all go to the same public high school.
dy dx is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared.
Over 10,000 apply. Only a fraction are accepted.
Were you a nerd by other people's calculations?
Tonight, Jane takes us to New York's famed Stuyvesant High School. What makes these kids winners? With school about to open, inspiration from the best and the brightest.
Dateline NBC with correspondents Brian Ross, Michelle Gillen, Deborah Roberts, and John Scott. From our studios in New York, here are Stone Phillips and Jane Pauley.
We'll get to our scheduled report shortly, and in a moment, Stone will talk to John Scott, who is standing by along the Louisiana Gulf Coast. As we speak, Hurricane Andrew has passed south and west of New Orleans, still packing 140-mile-per-hour winds and heading northwest. The killer storm already stands in terms of property damage as the most destructive natural disaster in U.S. history, with damage estimates for southern Florida now put it between $15 and $20 billion. The question, where will Andrew strike next? These shots, taken about 9 p.m. Eastern Time, show scenes around Houma, Louisiana. That's about 50 miles southwest of New Orleans. And as you can see, there's a lot of wind and a lot of rain, a foretaste of what may be in store later this evening. Not too many people. Residents have taken to higher ground to wait out the storm. And standing by now live is Bob Sheets at the National Hurricane Center in Coral Gables, Florida. Bob, everybody wants to know where it's going to hit and when. What can you tell us?
Well, Jane, is getting very close to the coastline. In fact, the eye wall of the storm, and that's the strongest part of the storm, is right on the coast right now, just to the southwest of New Orleans. Morgan City sets right up in here, and the eye wall will pass over that area within the next about 3 to 4 hours.
And what does that mean for how wide an area? How much of the Louisiana coastline there can expect to take some serious punishment?
Well, this swath of damage is going to be somewhere around 40 to 50 miles wide as that storm moves across there, just as it was here in South Florida.
You expect that, what, to be about 20 miles either side of Morgan City if your prediction now holds?
Yes, and primarily on the right side there in this case, with the wind circulating around the hurricane like this. So Morgan City here, certainly the Lafayette, Louisiana area has some major problems ahead of it based on our course here.
How dangerous is this storm now?
It's still almost the same intensity as it was when it passed across here in South Florida.
With the potential for perhaps a higher storm surge?
The storm surge is about 12 to 14 feet. Now, that's one of the good things because it's moving nearly parallel to the coast. The maximum surge was back in here. As the center goes along, the winds around behind the hurricane will be coming from the south, so this area will experience about, somewhere around 12 to 14 feet.
So it's going to be a long and rough night for the area.
Right
Bob
on
Sheets,
through the nighttime, yes.
You bet. Thank you very much. We'll keep you updated. Stone?
Well, Jane, Dateline's John Scott has been on the Louisiana coast since early this afternoon. He is standing by live right now in Houma, Louisiana. And John, it seems like you're just about due north of Andrew out there in the Gulf. What's the scene along the coast right now?
Due north is just exactly right, Stone. He's about, according to Dr. Sheets, 30 miles directly behind my back. and the eye is looking right at us. It is windy here. It is rainy, although not as bad as it has been earlier in the evening. I would say that everybody here is nervously waiting and hoping he skirts by us, but I can tell you that we are going to get a whale of a storm here, even if the eye of the storm passes west to us, as Dr. Sheets says it will.
John, you heard Dr. Sheets mention Morgan City as the place where the hurricane will move over land. Where are you relative to Morgan City?
We're about 30 miles due east of there. In fact, we drove through Morgan City on our way here a few hours ago, and it's virtually a ghost town to see it from the street. Everybody is hunkered down inside their houses and shelters and so forth.
How much of Houma has been evacuated at this point?
It is difficult to say. The Red Cross's best estimate is about 3,000 people of a population of maybe 60,000. So a lot of people have chosen to weather this one out right here, either at home or in the shelters.
John, one word about Florida. You live in southern Florida. You were there yesterday when Andrew moved through. The damage estimates are almost unbelievable. $15, $20 billion. Can you describe the damage that you saw?
It's really impossible to describe, Stone. You hear words tossed around as a war zone, the area being a war zone, that the destruction is unbelievable. We can't really find words to describe what happened in certain parts of Dade County, parts of South Florida. Where I was perhaps 30 miles away from the worst of the storm, and it was frightening there. It could be just as bad here tonight.
Okay. John Scott, thank you. John Scott in Houma, Louisiana tonight.
And we'll have another update on Andrew later. When we come back, another top story. A woman the FBI has called America's first female serial killer. Michelle Gillen interviewed her on death row. That report after this.
Introducing the new wave in air freshening. Airwick Airwaves, the advanced air freshening system. Turn it on.
Turn it on.
Turn it up.
Turn it up.
Way up.
Way up.
Turn it down.
Turn it down.
Way down.
Way down.
Turn it off. Slip in a refill for freshness that goes on and on. Airwick Airwaves, electric, refillable, adjustable.
Turn it on. Turn it up.
Turn it down for just the right amount of freshness all around. Completely adjustable Airwick Airwaves, the advanced air freshening system.
It begins at dawn. They've come for you. And they want what you have. It's your bed, your Serta Perfect Sleeper. But it's the most comfortable spot in the house. The Serta surface and support only Serta builds in makes it that way. So if it gets a little late for breakfast, there's always brunch. Is it any wonder people are saying, I want my Serta?
Breck introduces an extraordinary indulgence for your hair. An all-new Breck with Vitazomes. Uncommon hair care with vitamin-filled microcells that burst forth as you massage them in. New Breck releases fresh moisture, nourishing your hair and your scalp as well. New Breck with Vitazomes. A healthy indulgence for your hair.
Here I am, a pillar of the community. And I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
Brave adults challenge the notion that Frosted Flakes is just a kid's cereal.
In business meetings, I look around and wonder, am I the only one?
Those sweet, crunchy flakes and a splash of cold milk. What could an adult like better for breakfast?
I'm crazy about the taste. Hey, I got nothing to hide.
It's easy to see. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
Kelly LeBrock reveals the essence of man.
It's in the way he looks, the way he smiles, and when he holds you close. It's in the way he smells. Fruit, the essence of man. Come on, put it on.
With this ripe tomato, I'm going to show you how the Aquafresh Flex Brush helps take care of your gums and your teeth. It has a flexible neck, so no matter how you brush, you can see it's gentle on your gums. Aquafresh Flex for gentle dental care.
Is your child getting a decent education?
There is so much more that's possible.
Find out about some innovative new teaching methods that work. Brokaw reports a primetime special Saturday.
Again, we'll have more on Hurricane Andrew later in the hour. But now a story of unnatural violence. The case and confessions of a female serial killer. Over the last few decades, America has seen a steady stream of serial killers. Murderers who strike again and again without apparent motive. Often, as in recent cases in Seattle and Los Angeles, their victims are prostitutes. In our story tonight, the roles are reversed. Stone?
Eileen Wuornos is a self-described prostitute who admits killing a number of middle-aged men, most of them married. Despite the brutality of her crimes, her case has received little national attention. Watch Michelle Gillen's two-part report, and you may never forget Eileen Wuornos. And we should tell you going in, some of her descriptions are quite graphic.
Across Central Florida, amid the traffic of tourists making their way to Disney World, a hitchhiking prostitute named Eileen Wuornos spent her days and nights selling sex to men.
I was going out with a whole lot of men. I was going out with hundreds, maybe thousands.
For 7 of those men, the ride with Eileen Wuornos was fatal. After she propositioned them and in some cases had sex with them, she shot and killed them.
We look at women as being frail. This woman's not frail. This is probably the meanest woman I ever met in my life.
The FBI calls her the first female serial killer, comparing her to men who have killed stranger after stranger again and again over months or years. But Wuornos is a woman, and she says she killed to protect herself.
You say you are not a serial killer. I'm not a serial killer, and I'm not a murderer. I know that when I die, I'm going to heaven, and I'm going to have Jesus right beside me. And I'm going to have them on Judgment Day in front of me, and they're going to pay for their wrongdoing. I am innocent. It was self-defense.
The legal system didn't believe you.
I am not, I do not regret it. I do not regret it. They were going to kill me. I killed them. That is a normal thing to do. It's a human thing. I did the right thing, or I wouldn't be here today.
Our interview with Eileen Wuornos on death row was her first since receiving 4 death sentences. She now stands to become the first woman in Florida to be put to death by the state since 1840. What made this 36-year-old woman a killer? Why does she have no remorse? Who is Eileen Wuornos? Her world was a highway punctuated by truck stops, a woman living among roadmen, drifters, and transients. Her path of violence began in December 1989. Her first victim, Richard Mallory, a 52-year-old TV repairman. Cause of death, 4 bullet wounds. June 1990, 6 months later, David Spears, his truck abandoned. He was found nude with 6 bullet wounds. A week later, Charles Cascadon, en route to his fiance's house, his body dumped in the woods, shot 9 times.
The witnesses told us they saw.
Sergeant Robert Douglas was on the task force formed to stop the killings in Central Florida. What evidence began to emerge?
Well, it's just about an overkill in every one. They were shot multiple times. They were robbed. They were left in secluded areas for days and days on end.
It was 7 months after the killing started that police got their first break. Missionary Peter Sims disappeared in June 1990. Then his car was involved in a crash. In the car, 2 women.
It was on this road that you first got the clue that the serial killer you were looking for was a woman.
That's true. What happened was they were traveling on this road right here.
Coming around this bend.
Coming around this corner, traveling through here, ran off the road, hit this gate, went through the gate on into these bushes here, where when the car came to a stop, they got out, took the tag off, started wiping it down, took some belongings that they had in there, and beat feet down the road.
Witnesses saw the 2 women running. One was later identified as Eileen Wuornos. A sketch of Wuornos was posted around Florida, but 3 more men would be murdered on the highway. Again, the victims were middle-aged white men, all shot with a .22 caliber pistol. Wuornos says the 7 men she killed threatened, raped, or attempted to rape her.
I was raped, tormented, badly. And I'm sitting on death row for defending myself, justifiable homicide.
You're explaining now that these men were abusive in your opinion. You understand that for many people, because you were a prostitute, they don't understand how a prostitute can be raped.
I don't understand how nobody can understand that how a prostitute can be raped. Because when a man rapes a woman, he assaults your whole body. He puts his down your throat, cramming it down your throat. He tears your hair out of your head. He beats your face